In a quiet village nestled between mountains and dense forests, there stood a lonely lighthouse known as the Weeping Lantern. This was no ordinary lighthouse, for it did not guide ships to safety. Instead, it illuminated the landward paths, warning villagers against venturing too far into the woods after dark. The legend of the Weeping Lantern was woven with tragedy, rooted in the story of a woman named Eleina. She was a young widow who had lived in the lighthouse with her husband, Marcellus. He was a skilled builder and had constructed the lighthouse to protect the village from the dangers that lurked in the woods. Some said it was wolves, others whispered of vengeful spirits. Whatever it was, Marcellus was determined to keep the villagers safe. One stormy night, tragedy struck. Marcellus had ventured into the woods to investigate strange sounds, cries like those of a child calling for help. Eliana begged him not to go, clutching his arm with desperation, but his resolve was unshaken. "If it were me out there," he said softly, "I'd want someone to come." He never returned. Days turned into weeks, and the villagers assumed he had been taken by whatever haunted the woods. Eliana was inconsolable. She refused to leave the lighthouse, sitting by its great lantern every night, lighting it in the hope that Marcellus would find his way back. Her grief consumed her, and soon she began to hear his voice calling to her from the forest. "Help me, Eliana," the voice would whisper through the trees. At first, she dismissed it as a cruel trick of her mind, a manifestation of her despair. But the voice persisted, growing louder with each passing night. The villagers warned her not to heed it, but her love and guilt were stronger than reason. One moonless night, unable to resist the call any longer, Eliana ventured into the woods with the lantern in hand. The forest was alive with eerie sounds, branches creaking, unseen creatures rustling in the underbrush. The voice of Marcellus guided her deeper and deeper until she reached a clearing where the ground was unnaturally cold, even in the height of summer. In the center of the clearing stood a tree unlike any other. Its bark was black as coal, and its twisted branches seemed to reach toward the sky in silent agony. At its base lay a pile of bones, some human, some animal, all bleached white by time. Among them was a silver locket Eliana recognized as her husband's. As she knelt to retrieve it, the air grew heavy, and the voice that had called her turned harsh and mocking. The shadows around her shifted, forming into grotesque shapes with hollow eyes. They told her the truth. Marcellus had been lured into the woods by their trickery, just as she had been. "You are ours now," they hissed, circling her.